Deputy Tourism Minister Mark Okweku faced the Public Accounts Committee this week. He was quizzed about the theatre industry. I want you to take a listen.
Paragraph 1781, Honorable Yusuf.
Chairman, thank you. Chairman, the infraction relates to the renovation of the... Chairman, thank you. Chairman, the infraction relates to the renovation of the National Theatre. What is the state of it as we speak in terms of its renovation?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. It is good that the parliamentarians are asking this question because originally we wanted to get support from the Chinese government because they built the National Theatre for us, especially to do with technology. It's been so many years, and so some of the technology there are outmoded, and getting them from other countries was also difficult. And so it's been back and forth because they keep changing the ambassador and all of that. So we are still pursuing with the Chinese embassy, but if Ghana government would also help, I think it will be prudent in terms of budget to fix the National Theatre.
Minister, you are the Deputy Minister.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
And you are saying if Ghana government can help, you should be the one with your ministry proposing to the president. Okay? That is what you think should be done. So it's not for us here to tell you how that thing should be done. That's why you've been appointed as a deputy minister to help your minister to get this done. But the truth of the matter is that it's also as a result of lack of maintenance.
And I find it very interesting that the Public Accounts Committee is taking this up. Joining me in studio is culture journalist Kenneth Owusu-Darko to talk a bit more about this. And so, I mean, this really our chair. I've been corrected. This really brings to fore the importance of the National Theatre to our economy. Talk to us a little bit about that. I mean, beyond ticket sales, what's the contribution to the National Theatre to our economy?
And even to extend how important this topic is the fact that even earlier this week there was a town hall meeting held by the NDC flag bearer John Mahama, who also indicated how his administration, if given the nod, will work towards improving the creative sector and the cinema industry specifically, which also ties into theatre and then other areas as well. So that makes it even more important. But coming to the role of that space, basically the theatre space in bolstering the creative industry in Ghana, I mean, the fact that there are people in the theatre performing is one thing, but there's also the other part of the chain where it has to do with economics and how the community benefits economically from that. So if there is a theater happening or there's a show happening, it's not just the acting that's going on and all of that, but there's also employment being created because you have to hire actors, you have to hire film directors, you have to hire playwrights as well. You have to hire so many people in the value chain, and even outside the area as well, you can also find some economic activity going on. You'd find retailers selling their ware, because as long as there are people in a certain space, you'd find that there's economic activity going around there. Right. So that's also employment being created, even outside the immediate remit of the theatre space itself. So people are getting employed outside that space as well. And it also goes on to boost the tourism in the area too.
I'm interested in hearing what he had to say about the National Theatre, the challenges that they're faced with. What did he really say?
So he basically talked about the fact that there's some facelift that's needed for the National Theatre itself in terms of the infrastructure, also in terms of technology. That's also another area that is being looked at. According to him, there has been some, steps that have been taken while, during the governance of this specific, administration. There have been some minor steps being taken, but it has not been enough. And he's basically calling for. He says that some of the attempts that have been made is, includes the reaching out to the Chinese embassy because they had a very huge hand in the building of the infrastructure itself, that's the National Theatre.
How are we reaching out to the Chinese? I'm wondering.
So he says that because all efforts that have been made to reach other international bodies have not gone very far, so they feel like it will be also, out of empathy, or something that they may consider, because if the technologies were created, like the technologies that are being used to man the facility were from China, it wouldn't be, you know, out of place to maybe put some requests in there. But the problem has been, you know, the changes, the regular changes of ambassadors and officials that usually engage, you know, the local government as well. So those changes are making it very difficult. But beyond that, he's hoping that the government itself can, you know, extend a helping hand to help the industry as well.
I mean, we've seen public interest in theater productions, people going to watch some of these productions, and so I'm just wondering, what are the long-term benefits for us as a country if we are able to put in monies into our theater industry, into making our national theater, you know, a place where people can go and watch some of these beautiful productions?
So tourism is a big thing when it comes to the you know, National Theatre itself. I mean, the sort of activities that go on there go a very long way to promote the rich culture that Ghana usually portrays and is known internationally for. So that is one thing that is a benefit, a long-term benefit that's going to be, you know, achieved through, you know, improving the structure itself as a national theatre. There's also the economic revenue as well. I mean, if you look at the fact that in Africa alone, it's projected that by the end of this year, the revenue from the theatre or the cinema industry as a whole is projected to hit over $700 million this year. And it's projected to grow at, you know, a 5% rate year on year till about, you know, 2029 thereabout, where it's projected to hit about $900 million. And so this is a very huge chunk of the cake when you look at the theatre and cinema industry around the world, and that is just for Africa. So if you look at this figure that we are quoting, and you look at the fact that there is the need to propel or improve how some of these theatres here are looking like, you can basically imagine what kind of revenue that's going to be coming in for these, you know, individual artists and then the creatives as well, and also go a long way to boost the economy as a whole.
Oh, I'm glad that the MPs are taking this up, and so thank you so much. I don't know why I called you Super Kenneth Awotwe-Darko, culture journalist with myjoyonline.com. As always, we appreciate it. And last.